Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Algarve International Circuit. The first time Midwest F1 has visited the Spanish Peninsula. Well, it's not the Spanish Peninsula. What would we actually call it? Well, the other side of Spain, in Portugal. The first time since round 5 of Season 8, December of 2022. We're here now, the 12th round, I believe this is, of Season 11 here in Division 2. Hotspot on the call live! Look at me go! I've got the ability to do live streaming. How the hell did I pull that off? 5 seconds to go here. We have ourselves, I believe, 14, maybe eventually 15 drivers on the grid for tonight. And I tell you what, this Portimao circuit, definitely, it's an interesting one, that's for sure. I think anybody that's raced here knows adverse conditions are definitely possible. We have 14 on track at the moment. Looks a cloudy day, to say the least. But the good news is, I believe we may be looking at, well, unless I get pinged otherwise, we could be looking at a slightly clear race. Oh, well, that was interesting. You just saw that. That is rain, and that is rain which is falling now. Well, that wasn't happening mere seconds ago. It now is. Well, we're here in Portimao, the track, I want to say, pretty much designed, mostly used for, and popularized by MotoGP. This track came into the schedule in, I believe it was 2020. Was the first time we visited this track, 2021 the year after, and that was pretty much it. We didn't see it for 2022, and we haven't seen it for 2023. Probably not in the near future either, but it's in the game. And I tell you what, this track, I don't even want to say it's been a fan favorite, but it's been a pretty good one to follow along with. As Altered Fiber in the Alfa Romeo is going to be the first car out on track. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the same, because let me tell you something, this is great that I'm able to be here today live in person as Altered Fiber, first one around the track, heading into the VIP Tower corner now. Oh, that's another thing. This track has corner names. While we have a moment here, let's go into our drivers and constructors standing. So far, here in... What was that? Sorry. Mitch Burns leading the charge after Saudi Arabia at 266 points. Travis Scott, it's lit! And second at 227, Ray Ray. 219, Ambu 218, Mac 216. Slayer Eyes 205, the top 6 cars really within a good enough gap of each other here, guys. We're going to have one hell of a fight to the finish here for our Drivers' Championship. Frenchie, Ayahuasca, and Noganator round out the top 10 as far as the constructors are concerned. McLaren leads the way, 481. Alpine's 435. Ferrari's 428. Alfa Romeo's 405. The 396 belongs to Haas, 376 Red Bull, Mercedes at 330, AlphaTauri 219, Aston Martin 283, and Williams at 282. So good battles up and down the grid, and here we go. The first lap of this track since December of 2022. Altered Fiber is your driver out on track at the moment, making his way through Primera Corner, through turn 2 into Lagos Corner. The rain definitely getting harder now. Most drivers on track looking to get that one good corner, that one good lap, which will set their best time for the session. DRS activated here, down into the VIP Tower corner of turn 5, and will eventually be on the way out up the hill through turn 6, 7, and into turn 8 Samsung. And this is just such a beautiful complex of corners here, through turn 7 here, into Samsung corner, down to second and third gear. The track getting moist now, as you can see. How has he held on to that? Exits the corner, down the hill, the left-hander of the Craig Jones corner. Portimao corner coming up now, turns 10 and 11. Looks like he's doing pretty halfway decent. Exits the corner, back on the accelerator. Turns 12, turn 13, into Sagres after this. This is turn 13 here. Sagres corner now, and then into Galp, the shed corner. as what it was known as. You can see the oversteer happening now. It is absolutely treacherous out there. Long right-hander, flat as you'd like, exits the corner. DRS activated here. We're in qualifying. To the line he goes. Altered Fiber, it's a 1:21.770, and I'm quite hype at the moment because that very well could be the pole time with the rain falling. Brian Monster second at 3.5 tenths off. Next up is the Ferrari. It's not Cake Thomas, it's his teammate of Wild Poros, 1:25.07, 1.262. Faster than Altered Fiber. Cake Thomas round the final corner now. One of the only drivers with experience at this circuit. He can only manage third, 1:21.920. Puts himself at least a couple of tenths over Brian Mosser. Meme King moves within 16 one-thousandths of a second of Cake Thomas. Will reside fourth. Next up around the line, I believe it is one of the McLaren drivers. It is DB DeBest making his way through Sagres, trying to find as much acceleration as he can as he gets to the very long right-hander of Galp Corner. Look at him go. He's trying his best. The track is absolutely smothered with rain, and here he goes to the line here. It's not going to be pole. It's going to be P6 for DB DeBest, 124.957. Next up, the Aston Martin of Fire Up Flow, P6 for him. AlphaTauri of Travis Scott. It's lit! P7 for him, 123.359. And it has to be said, I think the drivers who went out early, Wild Poros, Altered Fiber, and Cake Thomas, they may have just locked up the top three unless, now this is what I'm concerned about here, was the track wet enough already on the end of this lap? I think Altered Fiber and Wild Poros their laps may stand. I think everybody else may be up for some jostling about in positions here, because as you can see, they're still on the soft tires. It's very interesting to say because, again, how much... And there goes DRS disabled now. So, again, I think Wild Poros and Altered Fiber's laps will probably stand as the top two. Everybody else, those especially residing 1.4 all the way back to Frenchie at 8.3, were those laps already affected enough by rain that they could improve? That's going to be a big talking point here. What I do know is Altered Fiber did very good on his timed lap, but is still 1.2 behind the Ferrari of Wild Poros, who... well, let me tell you something. That must have been an absolutely treacherous lap for him, and he was able to put down a good one. 12 minutes and 20 seconds to go, and I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of cars come into the pits and retire soon here, especially if the rain doesn't stop. I have not received any pings saying that it was going to stay raining during the session. 14 drivers on track tonight. A-Dub should be joining at some point. Remember, stay tuned for the end of the session. We will be having a special announcement from Pork Chops himself. Well, not from him, but him through me. I guess that's the correct way to say it. But, yeah, special announcements to come. And I tell you what, I just read the quick headline about it already. Oh, goodness me, I'm excited. 11 minutes and 34 seconds remaining now. I'm hoping that this is just a slight shower. And we do get more dry track time ahead of us. It very well could be. We got 11 minutes and still a bit to go here. Frenchie coming in. Perhaps can we pull Cake to... Oh, Frenchie, hold on! Wow, okay, well, I don't really know how that happened, but Frenchie nearly slid to his death on the way into the pit lane. Noganator to the line now. Fortunately, P11 for him, 1:38.85 in a clean 10.5 seconds back of the pole time. Ray Ray's on his way in. I'm afraid he's just not going to be able to put one together here. Anbu Mason at the moment on the intermediates. He's purple sector 1. Let's see. Now, this is the first driver on the intermediate tires to make a timed attempt tonight. Let's see how well this time stands up to the rest of the grid. Making his way through Samsung corner now in towards Craig Jones corner. Coming up here, I believe, is a British motorcyclist that, I don't know if he was killed at this circuit or not, but they've named that corner after him. Portimao corners 10 and 11 here. Ten minutes and 15 seconds to go here. Well, Poros has retired as well, so here we go. I think we're going to start seeing the masses retire from the session. That's telling me we're just simply not going to see any more dry running. I'm actually surprised that the session didn't even start out at the intermediates. It went quickly from dry to no longer dry. Andrew Mason, 1:26.014. That was, well, currently the only timed lap on intermediates. What I do know is this, even those on the soft tires in the 124s, if Anbu can only pull up, now I don't know how good of a lap Anbu's lap was, considering it was a 126 flat. What I do know is this, if that is probably the best that we're going to see, and as you can see here with 9 minutes and 15 seconds to go, this is going to be going towards the end of the session here, as Final Flame has joined. What we do know is this, 5 out of the top 6 drivers have retired. It looks like we do see Slayer Eyes on track, and Boo Mason, and DB DeBest actually coming out on laps as well. Let's see if perhaps we could pull one of the drivers in here for a quick interview. Perhaps even Cake Thomas. Let's see, can we ping Cake Thomas? fellow Ping Cake Thomas. Let's see if he perhaps joins the thing here. That'd be something. Ayahuasca's retired now. Looks like we may be getting some retirements coming up here. DB the Best coming through on a timed lap now. Let's see what he's got. Cake Thomas, I have no doubt, is crushing a Red Bull right now as we speak. I'm just wondering how much better. Now, this is going to be another one here because DB the Best is clearly going for it. If he wasn't, he wouldn't be on track. I'm just wondering if... Oh, and he's invalidated. Well, that one has gone down the Pichadou very quickly. I'm going to send Cake Thomas a very quick invite here. All right, I think we did get Cake invited here. DB the Best, let's see. I mean, it's interesting to see because obviously he's trying this lap here as best as he can. You know, of course he's invalidated already. Ambu's on his way in. Frenchie's out on track on the intermediates here. Six minutes and 15 seconds remaining here. Top 5 out of the top 6 have retired. Meme King is still in the pits, waiting to go. Frenchie's just invalidated his there, about to go into Samsung corner. Noganator on the intermediates here. I tell you what, a lot of these guys here, especially P, I would say 9 through 12 here, and also A-Dub and Final Flame, these couple of drivers who have yet to put together a timed lap might just be looking to go for it here. Noganator is actually a second faster through his attempt so far. Of course, being on the intermediates is 10 seconds off the pace at the moment. That makes about as much sense as it will. What I do know is this. Maybe the top 6 have already been decided, but everything else might still perhaps be up for grabs. Into the gravel there. Yeah, interesting to say. That part's for sure. What we do know is those that went out quickly were able to get themselves situated on a timed lap here. Noganator, who has invalidated. A-Dub on an outlap for what will be his one timed lap. Remember, he's joined the session late. You're only allowed one timed attempt here. 5 minutes to go in the session. Interesting to see A-Dub's lap here. He's going off. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say he's going off nothing here. But what I do know is this: one of the only drivers still who have yet to put together a timed attempt. You can see he is slightly struggling on the intermediates at the moment. 4.5 minutes to go here. Travis Scott Slayerized also on track, as well as Frenchie. Majority of the grid is in the pits though, and has retired from the qualifying session. I thought we were going to get more of an abbreviated session, but what's telling me is that these drivers still being on track might mean there could be a threat of rain in the foreseeable future. If Cake does end up joining, we'll have to ask him that, because that is a very potential situation what we have here. Hope everything's going well in the broadcast so far. I hope everything is staying at least to the very much, not even manageable, tolerable as far as the broadcast quality goes. Once again, stay tuned for the race upload on the Midwest YouTube account. That will be in 1080p at 60 frames per second. Good backslide there from A-Dub. He's been able to bring it back together. And stay tuned to the end of the broadcast. We do have a major announcement coming up. As we see A-Dub going through the VIP Tower corner here, up the hill, heading towards Samsung corner now. To the right-hander, And then into Samsung. Let's see what he has. 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining now. A little bit of back-end slide there, but I tell you what, the acceleration was quite decent from the Red Bull so far. This may be a very respectable lap. Into Portimao corner. Exits now. DB the best is retired in the McLaren. Tell you what, A-Dub's looking at a pretty solid lap here so far. Heading towards Sagres corner now. And eventually the very long right-hander of Galp. Exits Sagres. A little bit of sliding on the back end. Galp corner now. How does he handle the elevation change? The car almost got away from him, but he was able to hold on. Halfway decent looking lap here from A-Dub. He's going to go P10, 125.610. And that'll be that will be good enough for the top 10 for A-Dub on his one timed lap attempt. And Boo Mason and Noganator, who still have, I would say, some improvements to be made on an out lap here, as well as Travis Scott, Slayer Eyes. Meme King is still in the pit lane, but has yet to put together a timed attempt. Travis Scott seems like he's on a lap here. Let's see what he's got through Sagres corner now. You can see he is wildly struggling with this car, and I think, yeah, you may call it quits at this point. Still just trying to test out acceleration. We do have the McLaren of Anbu Mason. He's about to start one here. Now remember, a big problem that this game used to have at this circuit in particular was, in fact, the ERS deployments. It would oftentimes, on a qualifying lap, you would run out of energy before you got to the end of the lap. You would take Galp corner and then head to the pit straight there, and you would lose it by the time you got up the hill onto the pit straight itself. So that doesn't appear to be a problem anymore. At least in the dry it didn't. In the wet, it wasn't going to anyways. But Anbu Mason now 2.5 tenths slower through the first sector here, exiting the VIP Tower corner. Heading up the hill towards Samsung corner now. How does he hold it? Doesn't look too bad, has to be said. Looks a little bit worse for wear as far as acceleration goes. The car seems like it just wants to come around a little bit more on the back end. A-Dub's car did not necessarily seem like that. We got 40 seconds remaining here in the qualifying session, and what's been a very short-lived qualifying session as well. Unfortunately, no action necessarily to be had, except for the beginning. It's weird. Not all the time do you get the beginning of the session having the action. It's always at the end. And, well, it was, in fact, the beginning. Those who went out on the soft tires got their laps together and got them good. It is Wild Poros who will be taking pole, Altered Fiber second, and Cake Thomas in third. Ferrari 1 and 3. Good result for them. It's an all-Italian first two rows as the two Ferraris, the Alfa Romeo and the AlphaTauri, soon to be renamed Visa Cash App RB. Too many words, too many sponsors, and too little F's to give as far as that one is concerned. Well, it looks as if this session has come to a close here. Travis Scott making his way through the first corner. Time has expired. Slayer Eyes making his way towards Portimao corners now. I don't know if he's on a better lap than what he was. Noganator on track as well, as he's actually not all that far behind the Aston Martin here. Currently almost 3 seconds slower through this lap so far. Of course, that best time was set on the softs. I was thinking towards when the rain started to fall a little bit more. That was kind of the thing that I was looking out for. How many of the drivers' timed laps were... how many drivers' times lap were kind of influenced by the wet weather? You know, perhaps were they going to set better times in the intermediates? That doesn't look to be the case. Noganator, the final driver, coming through the, well, not the final driver, second to last, making his way up the hill towards the pit straight. What does he have? Does he improve? The answer is no, he doesn't. He's slower by 2.5 seconds, and Travis Scott, who has invalidated. So, the worst kept secret in Division 2 so far, Wild Poros in the Ferrari, on pole by almost 1.5 seconds over Altered Fiber. It's an all-Italian front two rows as the two Ferraris of Wild Poros and Cake Thomas, Altered Fiber in the Alfa Romeo, and Meme King in the AlphaTauri, as we're going to see Travis Scott coming across the line here. I don't want to say it's not been an entertaining qualifying session, but I tell you what, it's not how I expected. That part's for sure. Remember, as soon as we loaded in, it was a cloudy day. We thought maybe we were going to get some dry running. That wasn't the case. Wild Poros taking pole. Altered Fiber second. Cake Thomas third. Fourth is Meme King. Fifth, Brian Monster. Sixth is Fire Up Flow. Seventh is Travis Scott. Eighth is Slayerized. Ninth, DB the Best. 10th is A-Dub on his one-timed lap. Pretty good. And Boom Mason 11. 12th is Noganator. Rounding up the timed attempts is Frenchie P13. Final Flame, Ray Ray, and Ayahuasca did not get to put together... were not able to put together a timed attempt. They will be starting at the back. So, don't let the times fool you. These drivers are going into this race session pretty much blind to the competition around them. Let's see if perhaps we get ourselves a good Grand Prix here. So I've just received word, at least from looking at the Discord again, that the formation lap is still off. So I have started the... what do you call it here? The race upload recording. That is a massive stink bug on my TV. Hopefully it doesn't smell up the entire surroundings here. If it does, I am seriously in trouble because I do not plan to be gagged out here trying to upload this race. Once again, stay with us. Stay tuned for the end of the session. We have a huge announcement regarding the future of the league from Pork Chops himself, being delivered by yours truly. And let me tell you something. It's nothing bad. It's actually very, very good. I'm very excited to announce this. It's been in talks a lot. Not necessarily on the front look, but talks a lot. Here we go. Lights turning on 4 and eventually 5 lights here in Portimao, and they are off here in Division 2. It looks as if Wild Poros did get a much better start than his surroundings. Altered Fiber gets away well ahead of Cake Thomas. It looks as if the Haas of Meme King, Haas of Brian Mosser and Meme King side by side. Brian Mosser's had to go well off track there. He is well wide of the rest of the circuit as he, I don't want to say got forced off the track there, but it was a definite side by side between himself and the AlphaTauri of Meme King as they go down the, not even the back straight now, in towards the VIP tower. There goes Cake Thomas down to the inside on Altered Fiber, and he's made that one very good into the VIP tower corner. Out wide there is the Aston Martin of Slayerized, who may have lost a couple of spots there. Cake Thomas, being the veteran that he is, being one of only, I believe, 2 or 3 drivers on this grid who have raced this track before in the F1 cars, he may be at the advantage today, but for now, the advantage belongs to Wild Poros, who is out in front by a second and a half over his Ferrari teammate. A-Dub within a couple of tenths of Fire Up Flow here. This is for the 5th spot as they make their way up in towards Sagrees Corner and Galp, the final 2 corners of the circuit. 33 laps of action today. As far as tires are concerned, it looks as if the majority of them have taken the softs. Only 4 drivers on the mediums, only 1 other on the hards. That belonged to Ayahuasca in P13. Behind them, DB the Best and Slayerized side by side through Galp Corner as they make their way to the pit straight. It looks as if DB the Best has gotten around the Aston Martin there. Very nicely done. The Red Bull of Noganator trying to find a way around towards the back there. It looks as if has he gotten around Ray Ray? Yes, he has. Final Flame has gotten around his teammate of Ayahuasca there for the 12th spot. Travis Scott may have had a bit of an incident there. Not necessarily. I think he's lost 2 spots. One to both DB the Best and Slayerized. Now resides 9th place. Final up Flame getting around the inside of Ray Ray. Up the inside through one of the most difficult corners you'll ever face. Lap 14 to 16 is your recommended pit window. Down to the inside was DB the Best on Slayerized here. They're side by side as they head towards Samsung Corner here. Wild Poros nearly has now a 2.5 second gap over Cake Thomas. 0.2 of a second here, starting to maybe get a little bit further as Travis Scott doing his best here. Final Flame not all that far behind the Red Bull of Noganator either. A lot of action here in the early going. The grid still very close together. Here goes A-Dub trying to find the right side of Fire Up Flow. There's not enough room there. Does he look for the inside? No, he doesn't. Maybe will he have it coming off of Galp Corner, the final corner. Ahead of them, Altered Fiber may have gotten slightly wide there, and he will now. Meme King trying to look for the inside. Not enough real estate to make it happen, but the move was certainly lookable there, that's for sure. Does A-Dub have anything on Fire Up Flow here as they come to the pit straight once again? DRS activated now. They'll have it exiting Lagos Corner up the hill. Fire Up Flow down to the inside on Meme King. He will take the 4th spot, but now he'll have to go wide through the 2nd corner. He does somehow stay on the track there. I think he may have lost time, though, because of how this layout is constructed. Those first 2 corners, so difficult to try to get through, and somehow Meme King still in position here. DRS activated for the AlphaTauri. Does he go down the inside? Well, the inside was an option. Into the back of Fire Up Flow was another, and he almost did. A-Dub, who started 10th, up to 6th now on the softs in the Red Bull, doing very good here in the early goings. Ahead of them, Altered Fiber is definitely pressuring Cake Thomas here. Another incident that's going to be looked out for here is going to be track limits. Very easy to pick up track limits penalties, and I'm sure that those drivers are going to be looking out for that today. Behind them, Final Flame down to the inside on Noganator. He will get the 10th spot. Very nicely done. A lot of action in the early going here. Again, it's always the track that don't necessarily provide the best races in real life, always do in the virtual world. This is no exception. So far, it's been brilliant. Down to the inside is Meme King. A little bit of wiggle there on the back end. He wanted to go to the inside of Fire Up Flow. Not enough real estate to make it happen. Altered Fiber is now in DRS range of Cake Thomas. Cake Thomas is now outside of, was temporarily there, 3.5 seconds behind Wild Poros, did he have perhaps an incident there, because he's lost about 0.5 of a second in the process. Travis Scott, who I think may have made contact with the Aston Martin of Slayer Eyes. Yes, I believe he has. Slayer Eyes is missing a hefty part of his front wing, as now there's carbon fiber missing from the Aston Martin, especially on the end plate on the right front side. And I tell you what, that is not going to be ideal. This field is very bunched up, at least kind of the top 10 here. So missing any front wing and incidents now, not going well for Slayer Eyes. That part is absolutely for sure. Final Flame within 0.2 of DB to best here as they make their way towards Samsung Corner. To the top of the hill they go, and then back down. This track often described as a roller coaster. It certainly feels that way, I would assume, in the car, and it looks absolutely brilliant as well. Final up Flame, 2.5 tenths now to DB to best, doing the best he can. Here's Fire Up Flow. Does he try to find the inside of Altered Fiber? Not going to happen. Just a grease corner they go. Whoever gets the best exit here in through Galp will most likely set themselves up a move with the aid of DRS. Meme King wanted to go down the inside of the Aston Martin. That time, not enough room. Now what happens? Has he lost any time trying to make that maneuver? DRS activated for the AlphaTauri as they head down the pit straight. Do we see any position changes here? A-Dub getting very close. Does he look for the inside? No. Final Flame, however, will go to the inside of the McLaren of DB to best and will get the 7th spot. Final Flame is up 7 spots since the off here. His teammate of Ayahuasca. Oh, there's contact there between Noganator and Ray Ray. They're side by side. Contact being made again, I think. All this is doing is hindering both their efforts to get back to DRS range to the Williams of Ayahuasca ahead. For the time being, does Noganator try it down the inside? No, I tell you what, he was certainly looking for it. He may still have it. Ray Ray did not have the tightest apex through the corner. Noganator kind of thought there was room there. In fact, there was not. That one could have been bad right quickly. Slayer Eyes in the pits, as you saw, having the wing damage. Fire Up Flow, 0.4 of a second away from Altered Fiber. Altered Fiber, has to be said, doing very well, trying to keep up to Cake Thomas here as best he can. The veteran ahead of him. Wild Poros, I don't know nothing about this guy, but what I do know is this. He's right quick, 5 seconds ahead of his teammate already. And here we go now through Galp Corner once more. I'm wondering who gets a good exit here. Let's pull up the telemetry. Let's see how they're doing on battery. Fire Up Flow, 20%. Altered Fiber, 5%. Cake Thomas, 41. Meme King at 8. A-Dub at 40. Final Flame, 50-ish. And DB to best at a solid 11. This track is brutal on the energy recharge. As they make their way with the DRS now, does Altered Fiber look for anything here on Cake Thomas into VIP Tower? No, he doesn't. What I do know is this. A-Dub has gotten around Meme King for the 5th spot. This driver who started 10th is now up to 5th, and he's doing this practically blind as well. He's had very little to no practice. He had one timed lap attempt for joining the session late. Oh, and the other Red Bull of Noganator has gone off, and I think maybe was there contact involved as Anbu Mason leaves the scene of the crime. Good voice crack. Leaves the scene of the crime there, I'm not sure. What I do know is Noganator has not hit anything, but his tires are still going to be blistering warm as he's now under pressure from Brian Mosser for that 13th spot. But again, A-Dub having the one lap. Coming into the session late, you're only allowed one qualifying attempt. He did that, qualified P10 on the wets. This is the only time on the dries he's seen. At least some of these guys in the top 6 saw some time, as little as it was, on the dry surface. Not the case for A-Dub. Here's Meme King down to the inside on A-Dub, looking for the 5th spot back, and it looks as if he is going to get that. Very nicely done from the AlphaTauri. A-Dub trying to strike back. He's not quite there, but he's not far away either. He's still within DRS range, and let's see How's the exit coming up through Lagos Corner in towards DRS? I tell you what, Meme King's gotten away significantly better than A-Dub that time. Altered Fiber within 0.4 of a second of Cake Thomas. It looks as if in the straight line, Altered Fiber has a very good car. But at the moment, well, actually, I would almost say it's the other way around. I think Cake Thomas's car might be better in the straight line. Altered Fiber looking very good at the moment, doing his best he can, trying to find some way around the veteran here. I think Cake Thomas first came into this league around Season 3, Season 4. Final Flame getting down the inside of A-Dub at Portimao corner. That was impressive. Not often do you see moves be made there. Very nicely done for Final Flame. A-Dub, who was up to 5th, as high as 5th, is now kind of fallen back a little bit, but as long as he stays within DRS range, he might still be fine. Coming out of Galp corner now. Cake Thomas might be in trouble here with Altered Fiber ahead. Fire Up Flow's getting a good run on them as well. Down to the inside, Fire Up Flow. Is he going to look for Altered Fiber? Yes, he is. Do they stay side by side cleanly? Yes, they do. Altered Fiber was able to defend around the outside. Into Lagos corner now. Altered Fiber missed the braking zone. He tried to defend the inside. He outbraked himself. And now up the hill, round the outside. Fire Up Flow's going to have DRS, and I'm sure he may have the position as well as they head down the hill in towards VIP Tower. And what a battle this is for the 3rd spot. Altered Fiber still to the inside. Contact being made there. I think, and I'm hoping, that no front wing is lost because this is such a good battle. We wouldn't want to see it end like that. And it looks as if Altered Fiber, for the time being, has lost the position. I'm just hoping that no damage was sustained by either driver. And it looks for the time being that both cars are clean enough. Cake Thomas still resides over 2nd. That is now relegated Fire Up Flow down 1.5 seconds from Cake Thomas. The next car, if Cake Thomas stays outside of DRS range, he will be very, very good. Slayerized the first 3-second penalty of the day. Again, in the older games, when the cars were very understeery, 3-second penalties were quite common at this circuit. At the moment, we're about to begin the 9th lap here, and that's only the first 33-lap race here. A lot of racing left to go. Altered Fiber now. Does he have anything on Fire Up Flow? Fire Up Flow is in a very terrible spot as far as not having DRS behind it. Cake Thomas. To the inside goes Altered Fiber, and to the inside of Meme King goes Final Flame, and I think both of the drivers in question will make their respective overtakes. Final Flame now trying his best. A little bit of contact there with the Aston Martin. It was definitely noticeable that. Fire Up Flow, I doubt he had that much oversteer. Definite contact being made, and now Fire Up Flow trying the outside as they make their way into VIP Tower. He tries it around the outside. Those two cars make contact again. I think they did once more. They did the last time through that corner. Final Flame nearly had an opening up the inside, but I think Altered Fiber went across to the left there after the contact with Fire Up Flow, so that resulted in the Williams having to check up there on the inside, which is unfortunate because I think with good acceleration, he probably could have had both of them. Final Flame now within 0.2 of a second to Altered Fiber ahead. Again, it's going to be a lot about DRS here. Oh, a little bit of slide on the back end for Altered Fiber. Oh, I don't know if there was contact involved or not. You can see Altered Fiber kind of bouncing around on your screen. I don't know if that's my connection to him or his connection to me. I'm not too sure. But either way, you can see that Alfa Romeo slightly jumpy on the connection side. He's going to try the inside now. Let's see if Meme King has a good camera angle of this. Altered Fiber makes his way down to the inside, and it looks as if for now he may keep that spot. Yes, he will. Final Flame is not going to have enough time to try to overtake it. Oh, he's going to look to the inside, though. Is he going to have it? I think he does. Yes, he does, but Meme King now down to the inside. I think maybe was there contact involved, and that resulted in now Altered Fiber almost losing 2 spots. Yes, 2 positions. Nearly 3. Does A-Dub try to sneak one here on the Alfa Romeo? Oh, I don't think he's going to have necessarily the real estate to get it done. Altered Fiber parked it on the apex there. A-Dub made contact with the right rear tire. Thankfully, no damage happening for A-Dub. That one did get close. About 1/3 of the way through the Grand Prix now. Wild Poros has a 10-second advantage over Cake Thomas. 1/4 of a second now. Final Flame and Fire Up Flow. These two have been battling for a good 3 or 4 laps now. Final Flame has got to be feeling slightly frustrated with the Aston Martin, his ability to not get around him at the moment. Let's see, what does Final Flame try to do to the left side? Nothing there. Still in pursuit here. Oh, I think he's had a good exodus to grease through Galp corner now. Gonna have DRS the pit straight. Fire up Flow on the way in. Oh, sorry, that's Cake Thomas. Cake Thomas, the first driver of the day, on the softs, on the way in. Right, on the softs? Yes. So that means we may be seeing, well, that could be an undercut from Cake Thomas. Final Flame, now up 12 positions since the start. Cake Thomas, I'm assuming, has gone to the mediums here. Gonna wait and see his exit in the pit lane here. Noganator came in as well. And mediums for Cake Thomas, so soft to mediums is going to be my guess. Travis Scott down to the inside on Ayahuasca for the 9th spot, or sorry, the 8th spot, and he's got it. Fire Up Flow has 0.7 of a second to Final Flame. For the time being, Fire Up Flow doing well to hold on here. The grid not necessarily getting spread out here, but we're not seeing those 0.3 of a second gaps as we were. This time by, we will be 1/3 of the way through the official Grand Prix distance here. Sorry, 50% Grand Prix distance here. 0.6 of a second. Meme King, if he gets a good enough exit, remember he started on the mediums, he will have a slight advantage over those on the softs now. But he's not exactly gaining on Fire Up Flow if he is not necessarily enough. Again, Fire Up Flow does have DRS to the cars behind. It has to be said, it's kind of looking a little cloudy in places on the track. I'm thinking, did we see all these drivers go on the softs? Could there be weather in the near future? It doesn't look that way immediately until you get to looking this way. And yeah, there are some definite clouds on that side of the horizon, but I've not been pinged saying there will be weather. So yeah, don't know. It's a good question, though. 0.6 of a second separate Final Flame from Fire Up Flow. Well, when I say what, Fire Up Flow looks like he may have lost the car temporarily there, and now, well, oh, Meme King, that's a big slide and a big catch as well. Wow. I don't know how he held on to that one going up Samsung corner, but he did. Into Portimao corner now. Another little wiggle there from Meme King. He's been able to hold on. So Wild Poros, your leader, by 13 seconds here. He took the lead at the start and has not looked back since. Meme King, 0.4 of a second, and slightly closing as well. And I think he's had a much better exodus to grease through Galp. They go. What drivers come in this time? Fire Up Flow is going to be the answer, and that he will have DRS as well. Does he close in on Final Flame, who at the moment resides 1.3 seconds ahead? Fire Up Flow, I'm assuming, will be going to the mediums here. Slightly cloudy once more. That's I'm still looking out for it. Do we perhaps see weather in the future? Not sure. Medium tires going on for Fire Up Flow. Ayahuasca, 0.6 of a second from Travis Scott for the 7th spot. Cake Thomas getting around Fire Up Flow naturally there as Fire Up only coming out of the pits now. Cake Thomas, I would say actually pitting quite early there. You know, we've only seen a couple of drivers pit so far. I'm wondering if Cake Thomas, with the undercut happening here, was that perhaps a mistake? Because at the moment he's not really looking in a good spot. Well, who is Ayahuasca, who started the race on the hard tires at this moment in time, P8, and still I would think has quite some time before he needs to stop. Just look at your tire selections at the moment. Ayahuasca, one of 2 drivers on the hard tires. Slayer Eyes had to come in after his wing damage that he sustained. 0.4 of a second in closing here. Does Ayahuasca have anything for the waning soft tires of Travis Scott? Travis Scott, who started 7th, is still currently 7th. Out of Sagrees, through Galp corner now. Does Travis Scott decide to come in? No, he doesn't. Ayahuasca in pursuit, and I think he's going to get him relatively easily here. Down the pit straight they go, side by side, and well before the first corner, it looks like that position will belong to the Williams of Ayahuasca, who won at Coda. Travis Scott still not all that far behind, has to be said. Does he have a chance to strike back here with DRS? This DRS section isn't necessarily long enough to really make moves, but it's certainly helpful, and it sets up the rest of the circuit actually quite well. Travis Scott, oh, I tell you what, he had a look down to the inside. Maybe just one of those intimidation type looks there. You know, sometimes that's the case. You see drivers kind of peek their head to the inside. Can mean one of two things. Can mean, hey, number one, letting the driver ahead know that they're still there, and number two, I'm coming for you. As we see the grid start to get slightly more spread out here as we were, we're going to start seeing the round of pit stops here shortly. Wild Poro is still 14.5 seconds ahead of Final Flame. And I don't know where this guy's come from. Again, I think this is the first race I've ever casted of his. And at the moment, well, if it stays anything like this, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. What I do know is this. It is starting to get slightly more cloudy than it was not all that long ago. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. Those clouds are definitely here, kind of. The sun's still shining for now. On the outside, it's going to be Travis Scott. That's going to be a relatively easy one with the aid of DRS. DRS so powerful on the circuit. Cake Thomas up to 10th now. DB the Best, A-Dub, and Boo Mason on the way in. It's going to be a double stack for the McLarens, but I think they've actually timed it very well. Yes, they have. Brilliantly timed double stack for the McLaren duo. Almost no halt to the action there whatsoever. Very nicely done. I think if he's going to lose any position, it's going to be to Slayerized here. Slayerized, mind you, having a 3-second time penalty, or we may lose it to Noganator as well. Yes, it looks like he will, unless does he get away? Nope, Noganator will get that spot. Travis Scott's here within just less than a second of Ayahuasca. These two have been battling it out quite good. Within a couple of laps time here, we will be at the halfway mark of the Grand Prix. I think once we get onto lap 18, that's when we can make it official. Oh, a bit of slide on the back end there for Travis Scott. He had a bit of a tank slapper. He held on to it, though. Final Flame on the way in. Let's see, I don't think he's going to be losing that many positions here. That promotes Meme King to second, Altered Fiber to third. Although the top 6 cars still have yet to pit. And it's going to be... Oh, look at this! Double softs for Final Flame. I think. I'm hoping I'm correct there, because let me tell you something. That is a bold maneuver, to say the least. If he's just gone double softs, that tells me we could be seeing weather, because there's no... unless he's hoping for a safety car. That's the only other reason you'd see that sort of thing happen. And let me tell you, hoping for a safety car is a risky business game. That's for sure. Because only sometimes does that safety car show up. Well, for the time being, it looks as if things have slightly calmed down here. What we do see is DB the Best almost within a second of A-Dub here as they make their way towards Samsung Corner. Prior to the pit window, we were seeing some brilliant racing there, had to be said. I don't believe this track was in F1 22. If it was, yeah, I'm not too sure. I think Season 8 was the final of the last generation cars. It was either that or the first of this one. Travis Scott on the way in here. Soft tires for him. Let's see what he decides to do. Do we see another driver go soft to soft? Do we see the soft to mediums? And it looks like it is going to be soft to mediums here. Yes, it will. You see, that's where I may have gotten confused, because as they put the tire on, the tire switches color again for some reason. Because the soft tires that they took off became yellow. Yeah, I don't really understand how that works, but that's what's happened. A second and closing here. Final Flame and Fire Up Flow, who were relatively close to each other in the early proceedings. Final Flame on the soft tires here, closing in, actually, I would say quite quickly. Meme King, 5-second penalty for speeding to the pit lane from the second spot. Final Flame really in pursuit of Fire Up Flow here on the soft tires. Pork Chop has ruined the surprise in the Discord, but we'll get to that in a minute anyways. Final Flame looking down to the inside. Yes! Very nicely done for Final Flame. I was going to say he was probably going to get around Fire Up Flow relatively easily being on the soft tires, but you never know. .5 of a second in closing, but A-Dub within just a couple of tenths here on Meme King, who I'm wondering if Meme King, if his tires are up to 10. Whoa, big tank slapper that time from A-Dub, and how he was able to hold on. Fire Up Flow within a couple of tenths of Final Flame here. 3-car battle going on for that 8th spot for the time being. Led by the AlphaTauri of Meme King. A-Dub in 9th, DB the best 10th. We do also have Noganator trying to hunt down Slayer Eyes for the 12th spot. Let's see. Oh, Altered Fiber. Ooh, Altered Fiber. Is this not his? No, he hasn't stopped yet. That's true. Soft tires going on for Altered Fiber. Wild Poros still yet to come in, as well as Ray Ray and Ayahuasca. Wild Poros and Ray Ray both on the medium tires, Ayahuasca on the hards. I would assume Ayahuasca will be coming in here, I want to say relatively shortly. Probably a couple of laps after the pair of the drivers in the mediums still, but you never know. We'll have a look at the penalties at the moment. Meme King on 5-second penalties. Slayerized on 3-second penalties. Only one track limit penalty picked up so far here today. And, well, there you go. You're looking at it now. The clouds starting to at least make their presence known. Remember in the qualifying session we had the rain, which only some drivers got one good attempt on the dry track. Others did not end that way. Oh, big tank slapper there from Cake Thomas, and Final Flame gets down to the inside. And well, I tell you what, Cake Thomas, I'm actually quite grateful he held onto the car there and only lost the one spot, because if he didn't, it was going to either mean hitting Final Flame or hitting the barrier on the outside of the corner. What I do know now is this: Final Flame trying the outside through Galp corner. Oh, this is a tricky one. Ray Ray trying to... Does Ray Ray pit? No, he doesn't. Ray Ray stays on track. This is going to allow Cake Thomas to kind of get in this battle here. Look at the speed from the Ferrari. Does he get it? Good Lord, he does. It's a double overtake from Cake Thomas. Oh, but he does go wide. Ray Ray's picked up 3 seconds of penalty there. Final Flame does end up getting the position back. The pace of Cake Thomas's Ferrari right there. Goodness me. That may have been one of the fastest F1 cars I've ever seen. That thing was a piss missile down to the inside. And that is probably the best way I could have ever described it. But anyways, A-Dub with DRS here. Oh, does he try to outbrake the McLaren here? No, I don't think he's going to really have the room. Although, should that McLaren make one mistake, it will be on for A-Dub. What I'm looking at is going to be Ray Ray with that penalty. At the moment, he won't be losing too many positions. Maybe the one to fire up close. Still a lot of racing left to go. Not even within 10 laps to go yet. A-Dub getting around DB the best. Oh, I think DB, did he make a mistake going up through Samsung corner? I think he may have. He's relatively slow. Maybe did he hit the gravel on the outside? Did he get wheel spin going into the corner? Interesting there. Shame I missed it, because I'm very curious as to what's happened. But now, Ray Ray, well, he's going to have DRS to Cake here. I don't think, he hasn't come in yet either, has he? No, still 2 cars yet to come in. Wild Poros, oh, Wild Poros did stop. Yeah, that's true. He must have just recently stopped, because he had about a 14-second gap. He's down to 7 now. Altered Fiber, fastest lap for him on the softs, 1:18.932. That will take, at the moment, what I believe is going to be a grand slam for Wild Poros, unless, does he get the spot back? Oh, big slide there from Ray Ray. He held on somehow. Good little 3-car battle here for the 8th spot. Train being led by A-Dub. Altered Fiber had a look down to the inside, trying to find something on A-Dub. Nothing there at the moment. And those skies definitely getting slightly gray now, has to be said. Before, you could have made the argument it was just me that was seeing the gray. It's definitely looking like, with over 10 laps to go, could we see rain on the horizon? Fire up low. Oh, fire up low. Well, he got into Ray there, and he spun around at Portimao corner. He was out to the inside of Ray. Contact with the right rear tire of the Haas. Thankfully, it doesn't look as if he's broken his front wing, but Fire Up Flow's not going to be happy about that. He was having a good day to this point. Interesting. Not really sure what's happened there. DB DeBest within a couple of tenths of Altered Fiber and Meme King. And A-Dub here. Altered Fiber's going to start. Oh, Altered Fiber, does he lose in the car? Yes, he does. He does hold on to it somehow. I think. Well, Final Flame picks up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. I think somehow he was able to hold on to the car. I think that he just get the oversteer going through Galp corner. You can't always take it flat. Sometimes you can. Definitely more so than what you used to be able to take that corner. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that was the case. He just simply couldn't get it. Here's Anbu Mason. Will he get Slayer Eyes? Does he get Noganator too? Yes, he does. Good little double overtake there for Anbu Mason. Very nice. Oh, but Noganator wants to strike back. Does he look for the inside? No, not quite. I don't think he really had the room, although it did get close. Final Flame within a couple of tenths of his teammate of Ayahuasca. For the time being, though, the eyes rest on DB DeBest, A-Dub, and Altered Fiber. The battle for now the 7th spot. As far as your penalties are concerned, Meme King's got 5 seconds for speeding into the pit lane. Final Flame 3 seconds, Ray 3 seconds, and Slayerized all on 3-second penalties. Very tame race as far as penalties are concerned from the standard of Portimao. And I think Altered Fiber, maybe, did he kind of outbreak himself there? Did he go kind of around the outside of DB DeBest? What I do know is this. Those skies definitely gray enough for concern now. You can see it is looking like rain is absolutely possible here. I did not... Oh! Slayerized is retired! Do we get a safety car? Yes, we do! Well, he has gone off there. That is exiting Portimao corner. He may have gotten oversteer, went to the inside of the circuit, and that car ended up in the barriers, and now Wild Poros has a huge decision ahead of him. If he knows something I don't, and he knows that rain might be coming, we could see him take the intermediates now. What happens here? Next time by, we will have 10 laps to go. This is a big pit stop here if it does happen. No rain in sight just yet, but the skies look gray enough for concern. Very interesting here. Wild Poros has enough of a lead, I think, really, where it's not going to matter if he pits or not. But, oh, this is gut check time, really, is what it is. He's got to make a big decision here. We could even see drivers pit for the softs if the rain isn't going to come toward the end of the Grand Prix. What does he decide to do? He's got to be on his way in, surely. Yes, he is. Wild Poros on his way in. What does he decide to do? Is it the softs? Is it the intermediates? What do we see? Tires coming out. What are they? And they're another set of softs. So what that tells me, rain very much could be on the way. Unless we're just not, because if the rain could happen, naturally, when the rain is expected, you want to be on the softest compound. You will have the most grip with the circuit for the time being. And I'm thinking, what happens here, those do look like intermediate tires for Ayahuasca, and it is a double stack for the Williams team. Slayer Eyes, don't you worry, that happens to the best of us. That was definitely unfortunate there, but what you have done, in all fairness, if you've created a whole other side effect and stipulation of this race. So do with that information as you will, but what we do see now, Anbu Mason, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Ayahuasca and Final Flame, both on the intermediate tires here. That tells me rain is on the way. Ray on the intermediates here, A-Dub on the intermediates. Meme King's gone to the softs, that's a little bold. Travis Scott, the intermediates, and Boo Mason now the intermediates. Look at the amount of tires, and there it goes. The rain falling now. But what I do know is this, the amount of tires on display here, the whole lot minus the hards. Well, Kate Thomas being on those 13-lap-old medium tires. What I do know is this, his initial opportunity to pit for the intermediates is probably behind him. However, he will be in good company here with the rest of the top 5, Meme King and Frenchie, who have yet to pit. And the rain is definitely falling now. Wild Poros, I think, probably could have kept a grand slam if he had gone for the intermediates. Now he's going to have to pit. This lead may belong to Ayahuasca here, unless do they dare stay out, and it looks like, are they coming in? Cake Thomas stays out, Wild Poros comes in, and I think that was the veteran in Cake Thomas saying, my teammate was damn quicker than me today. I am not going to sabotage his attempts here. Cake Thomas stays out on the mediums. In fairness, credit to him, the track isn't quite wet yet. But what we will be seeing here, the top of the grid led by the Williams team. Once Cake Thomas decides to come in again, we do have some drivers on penalties here. That being both Final Flame and Ray Ray. Frenchie's going to be coming in here shortly, I believe. We'll probably be looking at the safety car coming in, I would hope, maybe at the end of this lap. Stay tuned for it. Well, Pork Chop's already spoiled the announcement, but I say spoiled. He put it in the Discord already, so if you're not there, if you're in the Discord and you want to see what I'm talking about, what the announcement is, go check the community announcements page. Really, really cool what we got going on. But what I do know is this. Cake Thomas leading the brigade here on the medium tires, the whole grid behind him on the intermediates. Cake Thomas stayed out, was not going to interrupt his teammate's race. His teammate of Wild Poros, who, all credit where it's due to him, led this race from start until safety car at lap 23. So Wild Poros, who had at time a 16-second lead over the grid, now has a lot of work to do. He's in amongst the rest of the pack. Of course, a couple of drivers with penalties, but penalties aren't going to come to the rescue here in Division 2, not always. You have to be very, very talented, to say the least. Wild Poros, I have no doubt. But I tell you what, he's got a lot of drivers ahead of him that could really, really use a good result here. Cake Thomas is going to have to come in here, surely. I don't believe the safety car is going to be in this lap, so if Cake Thomas stops now, he will be in good position still relatively. He'll have to catch up back to the grid, but it'll be respectable enough. Cake Thomas now on the way in. 26th lap of the Grand Prix underway here. The two Williams atop the leaderboard. Final Flame on 3 seconds of penalty, as well as Ray Ray for that matter. The whole grid now on the intermediates. Safety car on track. 4 cars still have yet to catch up to the queue here, which may be enough to send it in this lap. If it's not the case, I'd be slightly surprised. And the safety car comes in probably at the end of this lap. We will have 7 laps of racing remaining. The rain is falling. DRS will not be enabled. Ayahuasca, who, all credit where it's due, again, had himself, I don't want to say a relatively quiet day, but he had a lot of work to do. He started on the hard tires. He's now found himself in a brilliant position to take himself yet another win this season. Remember, he won January 4th at Coda. And now he has the ability to do it again. This guy, Ayahuasca, as well, has been in position several times recently as well. That part is absolutely for true. This guy recently has been showing some true talent, and I would definitely be... What in the hell? Final Flame has gone off track there, nearly cutting Ray Ray in half. But I would be very surprised if Ayahuasca did not find himself a Division 1 ride here in the next couple of seasons. This guy is incredibly talented. And oh, by the way, Wild Poros as well, a driver who I had no idea existed until today, and his 14-second lead at the beginning of it told me, oh yeah, he exists, and he's looking for a Division 1 seat. That guy is ultra talented. Safety car in at the end of this lap. All but Frenchie have caught up to the grid here. Ayahuasca really holding up the grid. Now, this is what's going to be interesting here. Not only does this kind of help Ayahuasca, it does also hurt him as well. Those tires may get ice cold if he doesn't get back going here shortly. His teammate of Final Flame and Ray Ray both having 3-second penalties for multiple warnings. 7 laps to go, this time by Ayahuasca. Oh, wheel spin on the go. It does kind of back up the cars behind him, so I guess it's almost worked. But Ayahuasca will lead them down the pit straight here. Ray Ray under pressure from A-Dub. A-Dub, does he look for the inside? He's got the slipstream. No, he goes to the outside. He'll try to outbrake the Haas around the outside. Does he have it? He'll go way wide off the track. Does he stay with it? Yes, he does. But unfortunately, as he comes back on track, Ray takes the spot back. Altered Fiber, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Wild Poros has gone around the outside of Travis Scott as they make their way up the hill, down the back straight now. A-Dub trying to have a look for the inside of Ray there. No gots. What I do know is this. Travis Scott trying around the outside is very wide. Meme King has spun around. Oh, I think he's caught it, but he's lost spots to Fire Up Flow. Look at that. DB the Best has gotten around at least two of them there in the conundrum. Travis Scott down to the inside on Altered Fiber. Those two drivers battling for position with their 3-second penalties. Oh, and there goes Travis Scott. No, he held on. The back end of the car really came around. I thought that was it for the AlphaTauri, but as it turns out, for the time being, everybody's gotten away pretty much okay. Wild Poros now getting around A-Dub, although I think that was more due to the error of A-Dub there, as he has gone way to the outside of the circuit, exiting Portimao corner. Wild Poros now looking to the left side of Ray through Sagrees, and as they go towards Galp, Ayahuasca and his teammate of fire. Oh, and that's big contact there, and Ray's in the grass. Oh, and I hate to say it, but that one may turn out to be a steward report there for Wild Poros. He went clean into the back of the Haas. So the pair of Williams drivers now have a 4-second lead over Wild Poros. Wild Poros, though, under pressure from A-Dub. Does A-Dub try anything here? No, he's not going to have the room. Oh, a little bit of slide on the back end there for Wild Poros. DB the Best and Noganator side by side here, down to the inside as well as Meme King as they make their way through Lagos corner now, up the hill once again. Meme King around the outside, and how he had the downforce to get around that car has done actually very, very well, has to be said. I do not know how he pulled that one off. A little bit of a lock up there. Fire Up Flow down to the inside of Anbu Mason, and will get the 12th spot as well. And now, Meme King looking for the right side of Noganator as they head towards Samsung corner. This is where the mistakes are going to be made, especially in the wet conditions. Up the hill they go. A little bit of slide there, but no mistakes otherwise to be made. And now, it has to be said, Wild Poros being very, very careful here, and for the time being, Final Flame does not lose position to the Ferrari, who may certainly be looking at a steward report later on, considering the contact with Ray just last lap. Meme King now down to the inside on Travis Scott, and he'll have and maintain the left side through Sagrees corner, and I think he's going to keep the spot as well. What I do know is this: Final Flame is right keeping up with his teammate of Ayahuasca here, but I don't believe he's going to try to overtake his teammate here. He's got the 3-second penalty. All he needs to do is stay within a good enough range. As Altered Fiber getting around the right side of A-Dub that time, that being for the 4th spot. Although 3-second penalties to be applied, he probably will lose that. A-Dub, how he held on to that car there. That car was all sorts of out of shape, but he held on somehow. Now down to the inside is Noganator on Meme King here. This is for the 7th spot. Side by side up the hill. Goodness me, how are they doing this cleanly in these conditions? DB the Best in pursuit here. I don't think he's not going to be close enough to make anything happen, but either way. Down to the inside. Oh, the back end of the car has come around for Meme King, and I'm afraid that is going to spell trouble for the AlphaTauri. The back end of the car came round under braking, and that will relegate Meme King down to P13. So unfortunate for him. He was having a very exciting day. Nonetheless, battles left and right for the guy, and I'm afraid, that is such an unfortunate way for that one to end. That part's for sure. Ray, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, puts him up to 6. Cake Thomas, who decided to pit after his teammate, just in kind of a courtesy, I would assume, finds himself within 3.5 tenths of DB the Best here. We'll check in with that one in a minute. What we do know is Final Flame once more. I tell you what, Final Flame's gaining here. Does he look for the inside? No. And thankfully, Final Flame chose not to try to overtake his teammate of Ayahuasca. That would have been unbelievable. Although I will say this, if Ayahuasca makes a mistake that takes him out of contention, Final Flame at the moment is still outside of that 3-second window on Wild Poros, and he will, for the time being, keep the spot. DB the Best has gone wide through turn 2. Cake Thomas into Lagos corner now, down to the inside. Does he have it? He'll have to have good acceleration here around the outside. It's going to be side by side. Cake Thomas, yes, I think he has got it. Oh, but Ayahuasca, no, and I think something has happened with him, because Final Flame's gotten around him. Ayahuasca now 2.5 seconds behind his teammate. Oh, what on earth has happened to the Williams of Ayahuasca? For the time being, Final Flame, to the line this time with 3 laps to go, has a 2.1 second lead on his teammate. Does Ayahuasca now? Ayahuasca has a very interesting dilemma here. Does he back up Wild Poros and try to secure the win for his teammate, or does he try to stay within that 3-second margin? It's all up to Ayahuasca here, knowing that if he does try to hunt down Final Flame will not only lose the position to his teammate, he will lose it to Wild Poros as well. At that point, it would not secure the 1 and 2 for Williams. Oh, what an interesting dilemma we have now. A-Dub getting around that's actually the left side of Altered Fiber, coming out of Galp corner. To the inside, trying to break the toe. Altered Fiber looking for the right side. Sorry, the left side, rather. Does he have it? No. In fact, he's gone wide. He's going to lose position to Travis Scott as well. So Altered Fiber losing a couple of spots there in just that one corner. But now does he try to strike back along the right side? Does he get good acceleration up the hill? I tell you what, not bad at all. Trying to find the inside of Travis Scott. Does he have it? Oh, is he going to outbreak the AlphaTauri here? No, that was going to be too risky if he did. Oh, but now Travis Scott's gone wide out of the corner. Altered Fiber nearly had to move down to the inside, but no gots. Fire Up Flow and DB the Best side by side, going out of the VIP Tower corner. DB the Best stays ahead of Fire Up Flow here, only for the time being. These 3 drivers here, Travis Scott, Altered Fiber, and Noganator, all battling for position. Not to mention the position for the win. Ayahuasca at the moment 2 seconds behind his teammate, Wild Poros a second behind Ayahuasca. If it holds like this, Final Flame will at least take second, and the 1 and 2 will be secure for the Williams team. Should Ayahuasca not break that toe to the Ferrari behind him, that would be absolutely detrimental to the team, because an absolute 1 and 2 is in play here. And if it doesn't happen, they might just have themselves to blame. Fire Up Flow down to the inside on Meme King. Does he have the 10th spot? Meme King, the traction around the outside. How's he done that? Well, brilliantly done for the AlphaTauri, but I'm afraid the Aston Martin still in pursuit down to the inside. Does he have it? Yes, and clearly. 2 laps to go now. In fact, probably a 1.5 at this point, as Final Flame out of the VIP Tower corner, heading towards Samsung now. If we look at the gap from the leader on back, it is currently 4.2 back to Wild Poros. At this moment, Ayahuasca would take the win. Final Flame, however, would keep second. We will keep an even closer eye on that when we get to the final lap. Meme King still in pursuit of Fire Up Flow here, but he's not necessarily close enough to make anything happen. In fact, I would say Fire Up Flow closer to DB the Best to making that happen. Noganator within 3.5 tenths. Meme King now within a tenth of Fire Up Flow, trying in the right side through Craig Jones' corner, to the left side now through Portimao corner. Oh, I tell you what, the Aston Martin's missing the end plate of the left front side. Well, I didn't see that at first. Now I do, and Meme King has gotten that position. And now Kate Thomas. 8th spot here after starting, I think 3rd we started. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there, it seemed, from Travis Scott. Final lap of the Grand Prix underway now. For the time being, Final Flame has a 4.5 second lead to Wild Poros. He will keep the win at this point in time. Does A-Dub keep the position behind to Altered Fiber? For the time being, it looks like yes. Whether it stays that way is going to be the question. Kate Thomas here, for the time being, will make up probably 3 spots once penalties are applied. It wasn't necessarily going to be the result he was hoping for, but a good result nonetheless if he can just hold on. DB the Best getting around the outside of Meme King there at Lagos. Meme King all over the track now. He gets the car back to gear, and now does he try to go down to the inside? Oh, and does he look for it? Yes, he does! The McLaren missing the end plate on the left front side. Meme King, does he have it? They're side by side exiting VIP Tower. Absolutely critical now. And somehow he has it, but the time being is Final Flame 2.9 over Ayahuasca for the win of the Grand Prix. This will be, if he's able to hold on. He's less than 0.2 of a second away from the win here. Does he hold on to it at the time being? It doesn't look that good, but as he rounds Galp corner now, Final Flame to the line he goes. Oh, and I think he's missed it by just a couple of tenths. It will be Ayahuasca taking the win. Wild Poros did everything he could. He finishes third after dominating the opening stages of the Grand Prix A-Dub. A very well-fought and well-deserved fourth place. Up 6 positions, mind you, the pair of Williams drivers up 15 and 12 spots, respectively. Unbelievable day for the Williams team. And it looks as if Cake Thomas will get promoted up to 6th. After having a pretty halfway decent beginning of the race, he was in behind his, he was ahead of his teammate after the initial beginning of the safety car. Didn't want to block in his teammate's result. Pit the lap after. Does rebound to 6th, so I guess Cake Thomas's efforts as far as his keeping his teammate in a good... What? Wild Poros retired? What? That doesn't look right. Huh. That doesn't look right. He definitely crossed the line in 3rd. Why is it said that he's retired? The pair of Williams drivers have absolutely finished on the podium here. The Red Bull has not. That belongs to Wild Poros, who apparently retired. I don't know what's happening here. I'm going to skip this just so I can see. Ayahuasca first, Final Flame second. That part is all true. Wild Poros in the Ferrari should have absolutely finished 3rd. I don't know why it's not saying that. A-Dub 4th, Altered Fiber 5th, 6th is Cake Thomas, 7th is Travis Scott, 8th is Meme King, 9th is Noganator, 10th DB the Best, 11th Fire Up Flow, 12th is Brian Monster, 13th Andrew Mason, 14th is Frenchie, 15th is Ray Ray, and I don't know why Wild Poros is saying all the way down there. Slayer Eyes did not get an opportunity to finish out the Grand Prix.